Okay, so I'm going to be testing ViewItem now. So I'm going to be testing these 5 pieces of data, 1 valid, 1 boundary, and 3 erroneous. So I got the valid test data, 11. This is in between 1 and 12, which makes it valid, as there is an item in a table with the item ID 11, which is the item that we entered in earlier, which is a Fanta. Then we've got the boundary test data, item ID 12, which is what also we entered in earlier, name, description. This is boundary because it's there's only 12 items in the table, and this is the very last item ID. So as a result, it's a boundary test data to see if the program will select the very last one and view it for the user. Then we have erroneous test data, item ID 13. 13 does not exist in the table, so an error message should pop up. Then go on to nothing. Since nothing's being added, and the button will just be pressed by itself without anything in the entry box, an error message should pop up. And A, that's not an integer. Same with this. So an error message should pop up because there's no item ID with A in item ID. It's all numbers. So let's test it. We'll run it. Also show you that it works by showing it in DB browser. So start with the valid test data 11, and it comes up with Fanta. So compare this with what we entered earlier: 500 mils, 18, 6, 18, 119, and we'll check in DB browser. As you can see, Fanta lemon bottle, 500 mils, 18, 6, 18, 119. It comes up. So we'll move on to the boundary test data, number 12. And as you can see, if we scroll up here, it comes up with the same values that we entered in. Name, description A 7612.119, and we go into DB browser. Name, description A 7612.119. So that's correct as well. So I'll move on to errors. And where are they? There we are. So going to 13 now. The ID you've entered is not in the database. This is because item ID 13 is not in the database. It only goes from 1 to 12. So we'll just delete that, and we'll move on to just pressing the button. So as you can see, the error message pops up once again, saying that the ID is not in the database, because it's not, because each one of these has an ID, and none of these are blank. They can't be blank, because the way the table works. Because if it was blank, then it would probably break. And then we'll press A, and as you can see, the ID you've entered is not in the database. This is because of the fact that when we created the table, it only accepts integers. So obviously something has to be put in there in the item ID. That's an integer because of the auto increment and the primary key. So that's why these two aren't accepted, because of the fact that these aren't in the database, and this isn't in the database. Even though it's an integer, it was not in the database because the user hasn't entered something in. So let's press this now to clear it, to show that that works as well. And come on, last time, 11 and 12, and